Okay, it is 1 minute after. I have the other three classes going, and it is my sincere honor to be able to introduce you today to Toni Shiloh. Toni Shiloh is a multi-published author. She signed with many traditional houses. She most recently signed with Barber. Um, she taught with us yesterday. I owe her 15 minutes. I rushed her unintentionally, but I appreciate her grace and your all's grace with us as we go through this new venue. Toni met her husband in the Air Force. She served in the Air Force, so she's a fellow vet like me. Thank you for your service. And a mother of two beautiful boys, 13 and 9. And today, Toni is going to be teaching on building your tribe, which I can't wait to see what she has in store. If you have questions, I will be watching the chat and we'll fill those in at the end. And also, we'll try to, if we have enough time, open up the mics and just let everyone fire away. So, without any further ado, Toni, take it away. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm looking forward to this class, you guys. If you've seen me anywhere on social media, you've probably seen me talk a lot on social media. So talking about social media is one of my favorite things to do. And building a tribe, I think, is very important as authors, because we don't want to just, reach out to readers. We want to make fans. And give me a moment. There goes my slides. Okay, like Greg said, I'm a multi-published author. I've written some novellas, specifically Christmas. One of my friends calls me the Christmas writing queen, but I only have 4. At the end of this year, I will have 2 more added to that list. I also have my Maple Run series, which a lot of my readers seem to love because it makes them hungry. And my latest series is the Faith and Fortune series, which is all first person. It's all from the heroine's point of view, and I really love it. Gotten some great feedback from the first one. So I'm really enjoying the bookish life, but I would not be on this journey without my fans, without my readers, which is why building a tribe on social media is so important. So we'll talk about the importance of it, the mutual fellowship you get, and then the things you should do on each of the social media platforms you choose to do. You don't have to do them all, but we'll go through multiple ones. So in case you've never heard the term tribe, it's been spoken lately of just those people who are really close-knit. So it's important to have those close-knit readers when you're in your writing journey, because they become your influencers, they become your avid buyers, they automatically become your word of mouth. They're your biggest fan base. You can make them at any point of your journey, whether you're unpublished, whether you're multi-published, wherever you are, you can make them, so no fear. And you'll find them wherever you choose to build your platform, whatever social media site you use. I'm a big fan of Facebook, and that's because the majority of my contemporary romance readers are on Facebook. So that's where you see me camp out. And like I said, you're going to create them by connecting with them. That's the biggest point of building a tribe, is connecting with the reader. So when I talk to social media with a lot of other authors, the one thing I hear is they're kind of scared. They're scared to do it, to put themselves out there. And they also make it sound like it's all for the readers, but it's actually a mutual fellowship. You can develop that relationship with your readers. They become, like I said, they become your fans, but those really great ones also become your friends. I literally was messaging a fan yesterday who I consider a friend, and I was brainstorming book ideas off with her because she's my reader, because she's read the majority of my books. She has an insight that sometimes just I can't connect with in my brain. This is what you want to do with your readers. And you create that by, sharing your interests, and then they connect back with if their interest lines with yours, whether it's the genre you read or hobbies, whatever it may be. I even see a lot of authors talking about what kind of Enneagram they are or their Myers-Briggs personality. Can I go with you, Nod? Am I talking too fast? I can't tell. No? Okay, thank you. So yes, it's a mutual fellowship you create with your readers. It's not just for them, it's also for you. One of the biggest ways you're going to create that tribe is by being consistent in your posting. Whether it's 1 day a week, 3 times a week, every day if you're a superstar. That's really kind of a trick. I joke around about being a superstar, but I've had people come up to me and they're like, you're always online, you're everywhere. How do you do it? And they look at me like I'm a superstar. I use schedulers, you guys. I use Hootsuite. I use the Facebook built-in scheduler because I can't be everywhere at once. And honestly, most of the time I'd rather be in a book. So using the schedulers that the programs that each platform have for you is a way to look like you're everywhere, but you're not. You keep your sanity, but you still have things built in to allow you to make that connection. So I wanted to specifically talk about Facebook right now. Like I said earlier, it's my favorite. The followers are easy to figure out what they want. They want that relatable and personable content. 1/3 of that content should be self-promotion or even cross-promotion. Now, if you're an introvert, you might think that being personable is scary, that you're going to give yourself too much of yourself up, but you can be personable and still maintain the level of privacy you want. Your followers on Facebook, they also like giveaways. They like lives, whether you use it through Facebook Live or the group messenger that just started maybe a couple of weeks ago. I don't know, it feels really brand new. It could be longer. If you have author groups or they like to connect you with in there, they like to connect you in reader groups. Avid readers of Christian fiction is a huge group, and it's a great way to connect with readers. They can find you there, follow you to your own page or group, whatever you may set up for yourself. And they also like polls, and they love gifts, all the gifts. So now that you know what people on Facebook like, what exactly should I post? Because sometimes, you hear what you should do, but that doesn't really translate to what exactly do you do. So like I said, you want to be personable. You want to give them a glimpse of who you are. It could be as simple as asking the question, what's your favorite color? My favorite color is pink. Literally, I did ask that question one time on my Facebook author page. I told people bonus points that they used the gift to tell me, and they literally froze my screen with everyone spamming, not spamming, but everyone responding with all gifts of what their favorite color was. And then what's great is that you get to see other readers interact with each other as well. So we created that community all based off the simple thing of what your favorite color is. I ask about food. I talk about movies I like, vacations I want to take or I have taken. I've talked about favorite songs. Something as simple as, oh, when you turned 16, what was the #1 song on the Billboard charts? And it's great because, people date themselves, but you can also connect with what people like or did not like. I've had people tell me, well, I didn't listen to that kind of music, but this is what it was. Or other people go, oh, my parents listen to that song. Whatever the case may be, it gets people talking. You can talk about your dislikes as well. I don't like vegetables, and I will throw that in there in a heartbeat for a conversation. So it's personable, but it also, I'm not giving them deep, dark secrets either, but they still feel like they get to see my personality. You can share memes you find funny. Whatever makes you you is what you want to share. Another good thing to do is hashtags. For Facebook, you do not have to go crazy. 1 or 2 is fine. You can do the am reading hashtag. I know some authors will post every Wednesday asking what people are reading. I use a hashtag Toni Shiloh questions whenever I post on Facebook. And that's actually so that people can find my specific questions. All I have to do is click on the hashtag and it'll just roll up in their feed of all the questions I've ever asked. You talk about your current obsession. Coffee. If you guys follow Jamie Jo Wright, she labels herself as a coffee addict. Movies, collectible. If any of you guys know Bethany Turner, she's known for her Funko Pop collection. And it's just these little details that make the author them and give an insight to the people who are following them. You could talk about your writing, the weather even, which makes a terrible small talk conversation topic, but it's great for Facebook. I'll periodically pop on and ask people what the weather's like in their neck of the woods. And, you get to live vicariously through others if they have better weather than you. The one thing I will want to point out, especially with Facebook, is to remember that your followers might be introverts. They might be the lurker. They might not have time to respond, but they're following, they're watching, they're looking. So even if your numbers aren't going up drastically as fast as you want them to be, even if you don't see a lot of comments, they're there, so keep on. I've gotten emails before from people who say, I'm super shy, but I love your posts and thank you for providing a place where we can talk. And I honestly, I saw the person's name. I had never seen them comment before, but they follow me and they're still out there lurking. So I appreciate them. And the best thing you can do on Facebook is to always post a question. So the thing about the Facebook algorithm is that comments increases your reachability, not likes. So yes, it's good if someone likes your post, but if you want Facebook to go ahead and show it to all the followers you do have, make them comment. So I threw a Facebook post example up. I did a couple of weeks ago, and I simply asked what the last book they read by a person of color. It hits on the current time. I shared what my last read was, so I gave them my personal content. And I also, led with the question so that they would all comment. As you can see, hopefully you can see the slide, I had about almost 800 people reached. And that's just at the time that I screen captured this and added it to my slide. I don't know if the reach has increased. You can see I had about 349 engagement. And of that, I had 127 comments. And if you can see, my likes are a lot less. There's 25 reactions to it. Give me a moment. I don't know why, but I'm getting chilled, so I'm going to put my sweater on. So maybe my teeth will stop chattering and I won't feel like I'm talking crazy. But yeah, and what I did is I actually tried to respond to everyone who comments. And that is really key on Facebook, is to respond. You don't have to do it all at once. You can periodically drop in and comments. You can do it the next day if you get busy. It doesn't matter when, but try to respond back to them so that they know that you are engaged, that you're paying attention to what they're commenting. They're, giving you a little bit of your time and posting. So, just respond. And you can respond simply back with an emoji. That takes no time, but it lets them know you saw and that you cared about what they said. And I added a graphic in because Facebook likes to show graphics. And I added my Toni Shiloh questions hashtag as well as the am reading one. So For the promo, here's my tip for a promotion. Make your graphic, post it with any specific hashtags. I did my step into a Shiloh book hashtag, which some awesome reader friends um, made up for me, and then a couple of genre specific hashtags. And then what you do is you pin it to your profile. Um, you can also pin your tweets. If you have Twitter, you can do the same thing on Twitter. So the great thing about pinning it to the top is now I don't have to promo anymore. Anytime a new person comes to my page, they're going to see the pinned tweet. As for the people who follow me, whatever I post is going to be in their news feed. So it's not like they'll get spammed by my pinned tweet all the time. It's there. I don't have to say it anymore. And now I don't come off as a used car salesman going, buy my book, buy my book. I just did the work once. And as you can see, the reach, it goes up sometimes by itself. Sometimes people will stop on the page and will see it and they'll share it for me and I don't have to do anything. Facebook would prefer you link to your website and not exactly to like Amazon. When I made this post, I did link to Amazon. I think I was being lazy, honestly, that day. But the majority of the time, I try and link to my website or to like a specific series site. And the good thing is, if you link to your website, now you're also driving up your website traffic and whatever you have there for people to see. So videos, I know that not everyone wants to do videos. It can be nerve-wracking, especially if you don't like the way you sound on a video, or it's that dead space. Like you're doing a Facebook Live and you're literally waiting for people's comments to pop up, but you have to keep talking and you have to keep engaging. That can be nerve-wracking. So you might want to try out their group messenger. Now, I labeled it on the slides as Facebook rooms, but sometimes it also pops up as a group messenger. And it's if you have a Facebook group associated with your author page or just a group in general, you can create these chat rooms. So it's sort of like Zoom. Everyone, you can have the gallery view where you have all the boxes of faces, and then everyone can mute themselves at will, and you guys can chat literally. I haven't done this yet for like a launch party or anything. I do plan on doing it in the future for a launch party to see if it works better than the Facebook Live. And I have a reader group that we do book club discussions in, and I'm going to do it in that reader group. I have been part of this as a reader, not as the author, but I have been part of it as a reader, and I thought it was wonderful. It's cool because you can see the faces of people you may just, see their little small circle on Facebook. Before we go on to Twitter, Greg, maybe you want to pick out a couple of questions you saw in the chat that I can answer.
Oh, if I can get me off mute. Yes, 1 second. Yes, we had a couple of questions. Get my microphone back. Sorry.
That's okay.
Let's see. So Melissa Stroh says, I love Myers-Briggs. Are there free schedulers or only free trial schedulers?
Oh, it's a great question. So Hootsuite has a free option. It, I think, limits you to only 3 platforms and only schedule up to 30 posts in advance. So for instance, if you used Hootsuite and you connected it with your Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, you don't get 30 for each platform, you get 30 total. So that would basically allow you to schedule 10 posts in advance for each platform. But keep in mind that Facebook has its own scheduler. So you could go on your author page for Facebook and schedule your post in advance. You could also do it in a group. Groups are allowed to schedule in advance. And then that frees up Hootsuite for a platform that doesn't have a scheduler.
So in the chat, JC Weaver posted a link to the Facebook business creator scheduler, I guess.
Okay.
that will be posted with the full text of the chat will be posted with the class video as soon as the class is over. So check that chat out if you miss it in the scroll. Lori wants to know what makes up the difference, or what makes up the engagements number, and why it's so much bigger than the number of comments.
So the engagement includes likes or any reaction a person did, comments, and then if someone shared it. So that's why the engagement number is so big. When you have the author page, you can go into your insights and it will break down. Like if I clicked on that specific post, it would tell me how many of the engagement was likes, how many times it was shared, how many people clicked on a link if it had it. They'll break down all that information. And I really encourage you to look at your insights when you're first starting, just to give you an idea of if what you're doing is working. So like try something 1 week and then go back and look at the insights for that. And then if you need to switch it up the following week. Um, it's a slow build for Facebook, but once you do get that build, it's so worth it. Like I know a lot of people were wondering if they should leave their author page and go strictly to groups. But I have both. But honestly, most of my engagement is found on my author page, and that's because I took the time to cultivate it.
So many of the commenters left kudos for avid readers of Christian fiction. One person asked if you had a separate author page, and I think Becca posted your Facebook author page, author Toni Shiloh.
Yes.
Let's see. Someone said CoSchedule has a free scheduling version, but she didn't like it as much as Tailwind. Let's see. Okay.
Okay.
Lots of comments about avid readers. Here was the one I missed. I'm sorry. Do you schedule blocks of time to create posts into the future, or is your scheduling more flexible?
I have done both. That's a great question. Um, I can be a little neurotic when it comes to my time, and I think it's the military upbringing in me. So I get in my phases where I want everything regimented, I want everything scheduled out, and so I've done it where Mondays I will use the time, and I will literally just sit there and make up posts for Facebook, for Twitter. Um, and I will schedule them so that I won't have to worry about it and I'll just get the notification when people respond. I've also gotten hectic times in my life where I'm on deadlines and I don't have the time to go and schedule in the future. And so I've allowed myself to be more flexible and I'll pop in real quick and create a question and then go back to whatever I was doing. So it's really what you're comfortable with. And I think for social media and for the writing life, you should always be flexible because there's always going to be that time when you seem to have all the time in the world. And then those times in your life where you're on deadline and you're, like a mole rat emerging from the dungeons once you're done. So be flexible no matter what. And I'm going to go on to Twitter now. So if I didn't get your questions, we'll get them later for the Q&A, I promise. So with Twitter, followers like hashtags. They still like the visual content, whether it's GIFs, a meme, a picture, a video. Retweets and tagging other authors are huge on Twitter. Frequently posting because you're competing with everyone else who's talking at the same time. So more frequent posts gets you more visibility. And then communities, which is great because we're talking about building your tribe. Twitter's the same way. They're all about the tribe, whether it's the writer community, Hallmarkies, specific day hashtags like Monday motivation and thoughtful Thursdays. I think Friday is Friday follow, or is it follow Friday? It's probably Friday follow. I can't remember. But those are the ways you connect with that community. I'm all about the Hallmarky community, by the way. It's a great way to build up your following. And just make sure that whatever community you're targeting, that's the post you're writing to attract. So if you're targeting that AM reading community, talk about books. If you're specifically on Twitter to talk about writing, target the writing community. Ask them what they're writing. I asked one time the writer community, I asked what song would be the best theme song for their book. And then I think another time I asked what song would be the best theme song about their life. You can target TV shows. So like I mentioned in a previous slide, I'm all about the Hallmarky community. And that's because the people who watch Hallmark movies are what I feel are my target audience to read my books. So in specifically targeting Hallmarkies, I'm hoping that they will in turn take the time to look at my Twitter profile and see that I'm a published author and then go investigate my books. I try not to self-promote during the time I'm specifically targeting Hallmarkies. Like I do a lot of live tweeting when the new movies drop, and a new one is dropping tonight at 9 Eastern, just in case you've never done it. It's fun. And like I said, include GIFs, pics, memes. So here's an example I did while watching a Hallmark movie, A Brush with Love. I used that specific hashtag because every Hallmark movie has its own hashtag. I used the spring fever hashtag because Hallmark also has a hashtag for whatever season we're in when it comes to movie watching. And the book, not the book, the movie was about a painter, and I threw in a GIF of Bob and asked, am I the only one who wanted to paint like him? Not only did I get every single Hallmarky who was watching, I reached outside of that community just with that question. I had 17 retweets, again, at the time that I screen captured this. And I had 104 likes and 24 comments. Most of the comments were like, yes, or gifts of yes, because if you can talk in a GIF, why wouldn't you? Another thing I've simply done is I'll retweet Hallmark and I'll ask who's watching the new movie. I went and did that today because, like I said, a new one comes out tonight at 9. And the great thing about interacting with Hallmark is they retweet you. It's fabulous. Their actors often live tweet as well, and they will retweet you as well. Not every actor's different, but the reach within that community is great. And all you have to do is tweet while watching the movie. I've gotten people who will then later message me and say, oh my gosh, you're an author. I saw that during the, Hallmark movie, and I totally went and bought your book. And that's all because they saw me tweeting. So, Greg, were there any questions on Twitter before we move on?
So there was a question about hashtags. I really feel like it got answered pretty sufficiently. And also I posted the hashtags for the conference into the chat as well, which is hashtag KCWC 2020 and hashtag Right Division. Hashtags are basically used to help people find topics that they're interested in. And you did a really good job of answering it too. On Twitter, there was a question about if you're an unpublished author, having separate bookstagram, or should they sprinkle in bookish posts on their personal account? And I think that kind of applies to also social media. Maybe some tips if you're an unpublished author for leveraging social media?
Yes. I was trying to decide if I was going to get into that later because I have an advice slide, but I'll talk about it now. So unpublished authors, a lot of time you guys feel like, well, you're no one, so why should I start building that social media platform? And that question is, you aren't no one. You are someone. Whether you're published or not, you're someone who has interests and other people are out there like you. And that makes you, in a sense, followable. So if you know you're going to, and your goal is to be a published writer, then yes, when you're unpublished, start building that tribe up now. I don't know if you guys know who Janine Roche is, but I followed her before she became a published author. Her personality is hilarious. She talks about romance movies. I like romance movies. So there was just things about her that my personality gravitated to. And then when she did become a published author, I was like, yes, I'm so excited. I'm totally reading her book. That's what's going to happen with you guys. I saw it early on in my career. I had started blogging, and when I finally dropped one of my books, a bunch of people were like, oh my gosh, Toni Shiloh released a book. Like, I totally follow her blog. And then they went and bought my book. So it does not matter if you're not published yet. You are, I don't want to say grooming, but you are making your presence known so that when you do have that published book, they're going to want to buy it specifically because they enjoy your personality on social media.
That's such a great point. And Toni, you're so good about promoting other authors, even today. Um, I think when you promote other authors, there's an old saying, a rising tide raises all ships, right? Uh, you promote other authors and they're going to turn around and promote you back. So even though you're a quote unquote unpublished author now, if you start promoting authors in your future genre who you like, um, when you release a book, I think it's going to be incumbent upon them to return the favor. Do you agree?
I completely agree. I've gotten so much love from other authors specifically because I promoted them in the past. My last book is a great example of that. You guys, I was floored. There's no other way to put it. I've literally had someone share my tweet of my latest release, and it said in the tweet, "She's an awesome person at promoting. Please buy her book." Like, so she thanked me and that and promoted me all at the same time. So,
Yeah.
yeah, if you blog, review for other authors, share about their books for the authors, we do remember that because kindness goes a long way,
Yeah.
plain and simple.
Excellent. Had one more question, not specific to Twitter, but it's if you have a limited budget, what services are worth their weight in gold? I'll interject before you answer that, Toni, and say and encourage you to please check out the 8 o'clock session from last night, The Writer's Toolbox by Rhonda Dragamer. She not only covers free or affordable services, but also tools for writers. Definitely check out that video if you get a chance. And Toni, what would you say the services that are worth their gold are if you're on a limited budget?
Services for what? That's one of my
I'm guessing,
confused.
paid Hootsuite versus free Hootsuite, that kind of thing.
Uh, I don't pay for any of those. That's if that gives you an answer. So yeah. All
Okay, I
right.
think we can probably go on safely.
Okay. So let's talk about Instagram. Instagram is all about the eye pleasing visual, um, and hashtags galore. More than five, no more, less than 30. And you want to make sure you're giving quality, not quantity. You don't have to spam Instagram. You don't have to post multiple days. I mean, you can if you want, but you don't have to. As long as you're giving a quality image, add some personal monologues. It can be as little or as much as you like. I forget Instagram's character limit, but I think it's in the 2000s. It's ridiculously high, whatever it is. And I'm sure if you follow anyone on Instagram, you've seen how a lot of people have like long paragraphs. And it's great because it allows you to be more creative, allows you to share what makes you unique. I will say on Instagram, you will see some people who do little patterns in their 9 squares. So maybe like, the top two are white and the one in the middle is blue. And then they reverse the color in the next line and then reverse it again. Um, Instagram algorithms are noticing that, followers are noticing that, and it looks a little repetitive to them. So sometimes they're just going to scroll through their news feed and they're not going to stop because of it. So think about changing up your background. Again, be more creative. Look at it as one post and make that post eye pleasing, and don't worry whether or not it creates a pattern or not. So, what should you post? Um, do things related to your brand or personality. Um, Use the hashtags. You can do writing related posts like simply taking a picture of your screenshot. That's a great thing to do if you're starting a new book. Take a screenshot of the chapter one. If you finish, the end always gets a lot of applause and likes from people. You could take a picture of your office because you changed it up, or you're a new you're a new writer and you just want to share what your office looks like, whatever it can be. You could take a picture of your mobile office. Coffee shop scenes are always big as well. If you read, which I hope we all do, take a picture of what you're reading. Use your Instagram story. This not only allows videos, you can do stills in Instagram story. The Instagram story lasts for 15 seconds and it will go away after 24 hours. However, you can create a highlight. And I should have took a picture of this. I just realized that. So I might pull it up on my phone later in the Q&A, but you can create a highlight. And so if you went on my Instagram profile right now, you will see these circles underneath my name and they'll say like books and Friday reads. And my books will show every old Instagram story I did on my books. Um, you can also use reposts to add to your own profile. So again, I've got a example. This one is actually a repost example. That logo to the left is the repost app you can download so that you can actively copy someone's Instagram picture, give them the credit, which is what it shows at the bottom left of the repost. And then I always direct whoever's following me back to whoever I reposted from. And this person simply shared a blog about my upcoming series. And I thought the graphic was beautiful. And so I reposted it and thanked her for highlighting it and then told everyone to check out her Instagram posts. You can also do giveaways on Instagram and just, it's a great place to just kind of slow down and share what you're thinking, share what matters to you. All right, so what kind of questions do we have there, Greg?
So someone asked what a nine box is. I think it was answered. It's sort of like the Brady Bunch intro where you have the nine or
Yes.
Hollywood squares, like a tic-tac-toe board, and you can put different things in it, right?
Right.
Okay, so let's start at the top. 1 second. I need to get to where I was.
Sure.
I'm sorting through the questions as you're going. So Tracy Crump and a lot of folks said this, they get much more engagement on their personal Facebook page than on their author page. Did you want to talk about that for a second?
Yeah, I can talk about that. And that's because that's what you've trained your people to do. So if you're posting your writing and your bookish information on your personal Facebook page, that's where people are going to go. So you basically have to train them to go find you on your author page. That can be something as simple if you don't want to accept a friend request. Instead, say if you know they're a reader, say thank you for sending me a friend request, but can you go to my author page? It's just all how you want to do with that. You can tell people you're going to stop sharing bookish information on your personal page and then go to your author page. You can ask people if they have bookish information to share about you specifically to tag your author page and not your personal. There's various ways you can handle that.
Okay. Leah asks, will the growth of your tribe be hindered if you don't have Twitter or Instagram?
So it depends on where your reader is. So if you're a YA author and you're on Facebook and not Instagram, yes, I personally believe your growth will be hindered because most YA readers are on Instagram. But if your readers like mine are on Facebook, then no, I don't believe you'll be hindered by not having Twitter or Instagram. You don't need to have all of them. I was just trying to cover all my bases. That's why I started most of mine.
Okay. Sharon Carpenter says, if I post about reading a book, should I hashtag the author's name or the title? And my opinion would be hashtag it all, right?
Yes, exactly. If you're on Instagram, the more hashtags, the better. You can hashtag their name. You can hashtag the book series if it's part of that, the title. Um, Sometimes you can even find the author's hashtags. It just depends on if they've shared them on their personal profile. You can hashtag or tag the publisher as well, because a lot of publishers do repost in their Instagram stories, seeing, showing where all their readers are and what they're reading.
Lori Scott asks, what's the algorithm trap that you avoid on Instagram story?
Okay, so when you have Instagram, or what happens is likes and comments will generally mean that now I will continue to see you in my newsfeed. But what if I follow, 30 other people that I haven't been able to like or comment? I can go and visually see their Instagram story. I don't have to wait for it to be in my newsfeed. Just simply scroll my finger across the top and see everyone I follow's story up there. So that's why you'll see some people post on their profile and then take that same image and put it in their story. That way they reach both people, the people who naturally see them in their newsfeed and the ones who are actively looking for them in their story.
So, Toni, Karen asked, how do you track people to your social media accounts when you first open them? JC Weaver offered to Karen start out commenting and engaging with people in groups, other people's posts within the community. Don't be afraid to ask people to like, share, follow, retweet, etc. In my experience, as with anything, it's about building relationships, right?
Yes, definitely. Um, so I'm an introvert, and that usually means I'm observing most of the time. So I did a lot of observing before I actually started engaging. But once I was done observing, that's what I did. Avid Readers was one place for Facebook. I started just responding to people's posts in there. And then eventually I worked up to asking questions. And then eventually on the weekend, because on the weekend, Avid Readers lets you promote, I'm like, hey, I have an author page in case you're interested. And then I got a bunch of likes. It's the same way with anything. You just start where you're comfortable and then work your way up. If you have Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, if you have a social media platform, I would really encourage you to make sure it's a business account. That way you can get the analytics and the insights of who's following you, where do they live, what time of the day are they on that platform, because then you can tailor when you're posting.
Okay. Gina says, what if you feel like you have no personality? I don't think I'm very interesting. I will say that if you have the Holy Spirit in you, you have an infinite personality in you because we have an infinite God. But what do you say, Toni?
I was going to say, God made you, so you have a personality. You are interesting. You might think that your interests aren't wildly accepted, but that's also not true. You just have to find the people who are like you. Um, I always felt growing up a little invisible, but that's mostly because I like to hide. Um, and people tell me all the time, oh my gosh, you're so engaging. And they think I'm an extrovert because of my Facebook post, but I'm not. I'm not. I just know how to share a little bit of myself. So it looks like I'm inviting everyone in, and it looks like I'm, you know, I don't know. I don't know what extroverts do, but it looks like I'm an extrovert, but I'm not an extrovert.
Is your
um,
husband?
yes, he is.
Yeah, that's me and Hallie. She's very much an introvert, and people just that surprises folks. But I make up for her introvertedness.
Yeah, that's my husband. He's the one who talks to people when we go out and
Yeah.
like jokes around with them. And I'm thinking, like, can't we just leave? Like, and rush through? Yeah.
Do we have to say hi? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So in a way, social media has opened up kind of that interaction for folks who are introverts because you don't have to physically interact. So it's a little less draining. Am I right?
Yes, exactly. I can post my post and then I can go read a book. And then I'll
Okay.
come back and, respond to people, and then I go back into my book or whatever it is I'm doing to, chill and relax.
So I think we're missing some context, but Dina asks, so does that mean we shouldn't do a weekly post on Instagram like Monday Motivation or Friday Funnies? People would see it as too repetitive. Uh,
So
Go ahead.
I know exactly what she's talking about. When I meant with the repetition, it's mostly about like what your background is. Your background image on Instagram is what makes you repetitive. Not the hashtags, because those hashtags exist. You can seriously, until the cows come home, put Monday motivation every Monday, and there will be people there who will follow you and want to know what the new Monday motivation is. I just encourage you to do a different image with that Monday motivation.
Okay. Last question, I guess. Although I do want to say that Crystal Cottle said her hubby committed them to a night out tonight with friends, and she's like, no. So Melissa Stroh asks, can you categorize images to certain highlights, or is it just a new highlight every post to your stories?
No, categories are the best way to do it. Like I said, for mine, I only have two categories, and that's mostly because I I don't do the Monday motivation. I don't do a lot of those. I do Bible scriptures, book news, and then whatever I'm reading. So the only thing I really wanted to categorize on my Instagram were my actual own books. So I did a highlight for that. But there are some Instagram people who have tons of different categories. So yes, do the category. And then once you've created that category, stick the highlight into that category. I hope that answers that.
Okay, I think we're ready to talk about blogs.
All right, let's talk about blogs, you guys. Um, some people don't know if they should start blogs. I saw a recent poll in the Writing Gals group where it showed that some readers still go to blogs to find new books. So if you choose to enter the blogging world for whatever reason, whether for fiction, nonfiction, just make sure you're consistent. Um, they need to know when you're going to blog, whether it's once a week, twice, whatever. Just be consistent. If you're a once a weeker person, make it on the same day. I think Carla Loriana does that. She does a book review every Friday. So that's when we know we'll get a book review from her. Make sure your content's relatable. If you write devotions, it'd be great if you do a devotional blog. It doesn't have to be your own words. It could be someone who guest posts for you, whatever it is, just make sure it's relatable to who your target audience is. Make sure that it's very easy to follow your blog. If it's something like a simple click of a button and now I am following your blog for life, that's great. And the same with commenting. I've seen some blogs where they have those captchas where I have to click on each image where that has the light in it, and I'm like squinting to find which image has the light in it. Like that's going to turn me off for commenting, and I'm going to go somewhere else. I don't mind the I'm not a robot click because it's just a one click, but just make sure it's easy to comment. And please put a share button on your blog. You need to have the Facebook share button, a Twitter share button. If you use WordPress, a repress on there, because if I like your content of your blog, I'm going to share it. If I can't share it, I'm probably going to hesitate to follow your blog in the future, because what's the point if I can't share it with everyone I like? We live in a very time where everyone wants convenience, and I don't want to have to copy the URL, then go to whatever platform I want to share it on and then paste it. And no, it sounds so simple to do, but just offer the button so it can do the work for me. Giveaways always drive up traffic, but they're not necessary. And there are blogger tribes, especially if you are a fiction writer. There's the Top 10 Tuesday Blogger Tribe and the First Line Fridays by Hoarding Books. The Top 10 Tuesday is by that artsy girl. I think that's her name. I have it on the next slide, which I should probably go. There you go. That artsy reader girl does the top 10. She creates a list of top 10 topics, top 10 Tuesday topics, and you can simply blog about the one that interests you the most. Just make sure you know your brand, you know your personality, you know what community you're targeting with your blog, and to keep it simple. You don't have to, write 1,000 words for a blog post. I would say 300 to 1,000 is the good mark to hit when writing a blog post. So for the example, I went ahead and used Reading is My Superpower. I know there's some fans of Carrie in here. She's awesome. She does lots of different blog posts, but it's all reader-centric. So she does reviews, she has guest posts from the author, she has interviews, she does the Top 10 Tuesdays and the First Line Fridays. This Cover Love on Rainy Day Reads was a Top 10 Tuesday topic. And all she did was share the covers of the books that had rain on them. Simple, it's easy, and a great way to reach all the bookish people. And what's great is she also, all the authors who get tagged in whatever post she has, we respond and then we go share with our readers. And it's just a great way to connect with people, reader blogs, in my opinion. So on my blog, one thing I do is Throwback Thursdays. And these are all books that are older than a year. They have to be at least.
I know that cover.
Yep. So the last time I did it was last week, and Melissa Tagg offered a giveaway. So, and she actually corresponded her newsletter to release on Throwback Thursday so that she could tell all her newsletter followers to, hey, if you haven't read this, you want a chance to earn a paperback copy, go look at this blog. So I got new readers from her, and she got my blog followers. So it's, a mutual exchange. And again, I used a hashtag because hashtags are great. So what I did is I asked some authors that I think have great social media presence. I asked them for some advice. So Bethany Turner, she's the author of Hadley Beckett's Next Dish, which is a rom-com. It's so awesome. She said, yes, algorithms and patterns and proven methods and all of that are so important, but anyone can research and implement all of those methods. What's actually going to help an author build their individual social media following is attracting people who are drawn to the individual author's personality. And she's great with this. If you've ever followed her on Facebook, she does a Friday poll where she shares 2 of her favorites. So we've gotten a little of her personality and whatever favorite she's doing, whether it's favorite movies or whatever the case may be. And then she gets us by interacting by voting on the poll. And if we disagree with her for whatever reason, she invites us to put in the comments how we really feel about the subject. And it's great. Like, her Friday polls are awesome. She actually every Friday pops up in my Facebook newsfeed and I vote. She says, don't spend so much time on what is working for everyone else that you forget to bring it to the aspects that will only work for you. Again, what's your personality? How can you share yourself? Becky Wade, she's author Stay With Me. She said consistency counts. If you honor the followers you have currently by posting engaging content regularly and by responding to their comments, your social media community will grow. It's just a natural thing. When you interact with the followers, they feel seen. And if they feel seen, they want to keep on being seen by you, keep having that connection, and they're going to naturally follow you. They're going to naturally tell their friends, hey, do you follow so-and-so on social media? And before you know, you'll have a big following like Becky Wade. Melissa Tagg also offered some advice. I won't read it all, but She basically said that who you are, what you love, and the stories you have to tell matter. Sharing those things in a sincere, engaging way can't help but deepen your relationship with readers. And those readers will turn in, become the loyal fan base that uses the most effective platform growing method of all, word of mouth. So again, it's all about engaging with them, building those relationships. And last, Janine, she said, whether your following is big or small, focus on growth. What percentage has your social media followers or newsletter subscribers grown over the past 3 months? What are your plans to keep that number increasing? Use it as a way to show you're invested in your success as an author. And it's such a great way too, because I know sometimes when you're unpublished and you hear that, oh, publishers want you to have 5,000 followers, and you're like, yikes. Um, and then you want to do a book proposal, but you don't have 5,000, maybe you can simply say, well, over the past 3 months, I went from 1 follower to 500 by simply offering da 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 da. And that shows that you'll put the work in to grow your platform and that you don't necessarily need to have the number already. So let's end with some more questions because I'm sure there are a lot more.
Okay, so yes, there was some discussions about blogging and whether it's a website or whether it's on Facebook. Just real quick, your blog is not on Facebook. Facebook should be what you use to link to your blog or your website. But you don't own Facebook. You own your website, you own your blog, you own your newsletter. Um, Getting back to Instagram, Toni, what are your thoughts on using IGTV on Instagram?
So I had never personally used it until a couple of weeks ago when another author interviewed me for the sole purpose of putting it on IGTV. So she shared it on her platform, and then I was able to add that to my Instagram story in its entirety. So definitely, if you're comfortable using IGTV, go ahead and use that. There's a few people I follow who do IGTV, and it's always fun to see the little video pop up in my newsfeed, and I just sit and watch it until it's over.
Melissa asks, how do you categorize stories on Instagram?
Okay, so let me see if I can. You know what? Actually, I will make a note and I will do a how to, and then I'll post it. Can I like just send that to you, Greg?
Sure.
Okay, I'll do that then.
I'll see if I know somebody that can maybe get it on Successful Christian Self Publishing or Almost an Author or Novel Rocket or My Book Therapy. Maybe one of those. Okay, so Vani is starting a newsletter rather than a blog. How do I
Okay.
use social media to build a relationship? My advice, Vani, would be do both, do a newsletter and a blog. But Toni, what are your thoughts?
Definitely do both. And be sure before you send out your newsletter to tell the people on your social media, hey, I'm about to send out a newsletter, and it's news only people in the news subscribers are going to see. So that automatically makes them want to be in that little circle, like, oh, I want the news. So make sure you include the link they can click on to subscribe, and then give that a couple of days. And then obviously the newsletter will come out. And then you can do that literally each time before you share a newsletter update. A couple of days before on your platform, say, hey, I'm sharing news with my subscribers first. If you want to be in on the know, sign up for my newsletter.
Okay, and Vani also asked how you build commenting on a newsletter, or is a newsletter not a good idea? A newsletter is probably an author's number one tool because these are people who intentionally subscribe to hear from you. So it's certainly a good idea. One thing that Hallie did is she has a contest every monthly newsletter where she'll give away a $25 Amazon gift card or something to one of the subscribers. So that has a good open rate because people want to know if they won that gift card. Toni, what do you think?
Definitely commenting is the way to go. You can, say what you want to say in your newsletter, and then at the end, ask the question. I've seen two ways this is done. One, you just ask people to respond back to you. And for some people, they track who responds in their newsletter. They're able to give them a tag depending on what you use for your newsletter or host. Like MailChimp allows you to put a tag on people for whatever reason. So I can say, hey, this person is a responder, and that's the tag I want to associate with them. I've also seen it where people say, hey, respond to me via Facebook. And they will put a specific link to that question that they've got ready and to go on Facebook, so that now you've got engagement on Facebook. You naturally move to your newsletter people over to Facebook if that's how you want to be able to keep up. Because I don't know, getting like say you have 1,000 people on your newsletter subscriber and 200 of them open it and 50 people respond. Like, do you want 50 emails? Is that easy for you to go one by one and respond back to them? Because if you ask them a question in your newsletter, you should then go ahead, respond if they actually email you back. Or would you rather just see them on Facebook responding?
Okay, it is actually 2 minutes after 2, so we're a little over time. I want to respect your time, Toni. Is it okay if we go a few minutes over?
Sure, no problem.
Okay, our next obligation, of course, is our 2:30 keynote, but I didn't want to keep you if we're keeping you from something.
Nope.
So we have a few more questions in the chat. Let's see. One is, what should you call your social media account? By your real name, or are numbers okay? My advice would be something like author Greg Bridgman or author Toni Shiloh. What do you think, Toni?
Definitely. That's what I do for Facebook. My link is author Toni Shiloh. When I first did this, I kind of went out with no direction. But I would advise you, if you don't have social media started yet for your specific author platform, it's really, really, really good if you can make it the same for each platform. So Bethany Turner, I think hers is C Bethany Writes, no matter what. For her website, for Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, it's the same across the board. It's not going to hurt you if you can't make it the same, because some people have, a common name. I actually, when I went on Twitter, found someone who had Toni Shiloh taken already. I've never met another Toni Shiloh, so someone out there stole my name. But so sometimes you can't help it. You can't make it the same. But if you can, make it the same for all of them.
Okay, there are a few more questions in chat, but I think you've honestly addressed them all.
Okay.
Is it okay if we unmute and open the floor for questions?
Sure.
Okay, I'm going to unmute everyone. If you're still on mute, feel free to unmute yourself. And please feel free to ask Toni anything that's on your mind.
What was the app you used to repost?
It's called Repost.
Oh, okay. That's easy.
There are several reposts. Which one?
I put the logo in because I knew that someone would ask, but let me see really quick. I literally think it's just Repost. Oh, it's Repost without an S, so REPOST. I don't know if anyone can see it. Nah, probably not, but that's the one I use. And it's pretty simple. And it tells you how to get the link from the person you want to copy from. And it opens it up in Instagram and it reposts for you, and you can add whatever else you want to say to it.
Anyone else?
Yes,
And that's
Eugenia.
an app?
Yep.
Okay, so my question is probably really basic because I'm not very into the using the social media. I'm trying really hard and I'm expanding my muscles. But on the Facebook, when you write a post and below it, there's like the little like button. And all I see on mine is the like button, the comment, and the share. And some people are able to put like a little heart. I don't see the little heart. How do you find the?
You hover over it. So if you hover over it,
Hover over what?
the like. When you
Hover over
instead
the
of
like?
clicking on the like, just let it hover a little bit, and it should pop up.
Oh, I just liked something.
It's okay. Don't press it. Just kind of just hold your finger over it so it knows that's what you're looking at, and all of them will pop up: the heart, the care button, the haha,
Like a
because
drop
we
down
all
menu,
need.
right?
It's not doing it. Okay, I'll have to work on that. I don't know. It's weird.
It might work on your computer screen better too.
Than the
Yeah,
phone.
sometimes. Yeah.
Oh, because I'm using the phone. But I
Right.
mean, people, they have little hearts, and I was like, I want to put a
Mhm.
heart. But okay.
All right. Any other questions for Toni?
Can I ask you a question about, you were talking earlier about the author page versus your personal page and how it's how people are trained to look at one or the other, but do you think it could also just be Facebook algorithms?
Um, well,
Partly.
yes and no, because the algorithms are designed to put whoever you like and comment the most to naturally get them in your news feed. Um, and that's why I say you have to train people to go to your author page. It's the same way. You train them and tell them, hey, if you want my news feed, my author page to pop up in your news feed, you go and put see first. It's under the notification section, and they can see you first anytime just by simply selecting that. So now you kind of bypass the algorithms. Now I'm automatically going to pop up in your news feed. And you can then still interact with me on a personal level for whatever I've had there.
It's
I have
partly
a
algorithms
question.
too, though, right? Because if you aren't paying for, say, advertising or whatever, then someone who is going to get way ahead of the line before you.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much that goes into it.
Yeah, I know.
Unfortunately, I when I started trying to focus all my energy on my author page, I literally had to retrain people because before I was using my personal profile to say, hey, I've got a book out. So I just started with simple, if you want to follow me on my author page, here it is, because I'm going to be talking there. And then on my author page, I'm like, hey, you want to see me first in your news feed? Make sure you do these steps to get me in your news feed. And it's slow going, and I still share stuff on my personal profile, but I don't bombard them like hopefully you don't feel like I'm bombarding you on my author page, but all my interactions on my author page now.
Can I ask a question that relates to that?
Yes,
Sure.
please speak up.
Um, so I have an author page, but anytime I share on my author page, I also share it from that to my personal page. Would you not do that then? Is that confusing to the reader or the follower?
Yeah, I would not do that because now you're training people to just stay on your personal page. Um, so yeah, don't do that. Um,
Oh, I got a question.
okay.
Toni, is it okay to share like a prologue or first chapter if you're unpublished of a book you're trying to get published or not?
Um, I would not do a first chapter. Now, what I've done sometimes in the past is I'll just do like the first paragraph or the
Okay.
first line just
All
to
right.
hook people.
Yeah, I think it should be a hook anyway. Yeah.
Yeah. And be like, ooh, this is what I'm working on, or whatever the case may be. And they're like, oh, I want more. And I'm like, ha ha ha, you have to wait. So it built anticipation, and yeah, so
Okay.
that would be my suggestion.
If you have an existing series, like what Hallie did is she wrote a little novella that was kind of a prequel to the series, and she'll give that away as a giveaway too. So if you subscribe to her newsletter, you get the free novella, and of course,
okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, that would onboard you into the series, of course.
Yeah, I do it.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just gonna say I do a free short story for my newsletter subscribers. So if you subscribe, you get a free short story, and just to give you like a little sample of my writing, but it's not available anywhere but to newsletter subscribers.
Okay.
Part of my marketing has included a little service dog that I had, and so her name is on my Instagram account and on my Twitter. However, she just passed away.
No.
And so I want to keep my followers, right? But the photos are going to be of a different service dog now. And do I take her name off of my Twitter? And can I do that and keep my people, or do I just need to leave it?
So for Twitter, you can definitely change your name. I've done it before. So yeah, you can, before you change it, well, I was going to say before you change it, tell them you're changing it, but you can do it either or. You can change it. That way you know exactly what it'll be, and just in case someone has whatever name you want to change it to. Or you can let them know, hey, I'm going to be changing it soon. FYI, this is what I'm hoping it will be. But yeah, Twitter lets you change it. I want to say Instagram also lets you change it. And I think Facebook puts a limit on how many times you can change your name. And when I think about it, Facebook, if you create an author page on Facebook and you see your URL at the top is facebook.com/just Gail Cart and a whole bunch of numbers, go change that. In the about section, there's the @ symbol. Tell them what you want to be called. Mine is author Toni Shiloh, and that changes your URL because readers are never going to remember all those numbers. You just want it to be your name.
There are days I can't remember my own phone number.
Folks, we're a little over 12 minutes past the hour. That is such great advice, Toni.
Yep.
I can't tell you how much of an honor it's been to have you here. Just really, really pleased. Super, super pleased with the class. So can everybody, you're on camera, go ahead and give Toni a hand.
Thumbs up.
Thanks,
Yay.
guys.
Thank you so much. And we will see you all at the next keynote.